Hi and welcome back to my channel. I've got an exciting guest to interview today. Today I am joined by Hilary, who is the CEO of a charity that you guys, if you watch me regularly, know is very close to my heart, Dogs for Autism. And today I thought that I would take the opportunity to talk to Hilary about assistance dogs, how they might help people, the kinds of things that they do, and how you could access an assistance dog if you thought that was something that might be useful for you. I'm going to get stuck in and ask Hilary some questions. So, hi Hilary.
Hello.
The first question I want to ask you is, if you are an autistic person or the carer of someone who is autistic, how would you know if a dog could benefit them?
The first thing we normally ask people is, do you like dogs, or does your child like dogs? Which actually might sound like a bit of a fatuous question, but I think sometimes when people are trying to look at ways that they can put strategies in place to help with some of the challenges of autism, having a dog might seem like a great idea because of the benefits a dog can bring, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But the reality is you've got to really, really want a dog and love dogs. And some children might like dogs a little bit, but actually aren't really that interested in dogs. So we have to look at that. That's the first thing that we ask. And then we want to know really what benefits people think a dog might bring, because it can be different for each person. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really true. I think sometimes people think, oh, autism, dog, without really making that, like, going through that logical thought process. So what are the benefits of an assistance dog if the prerequisite of we love dogs, we want to invest energy in this dog is already in place?
Okay. So an assistance dog, which separates it from being a therapy dog or an emotional support dog, an assistance dog is there as a tool, as an aid to mitigate some of the difficult effects of a disability. So a disability assistance dog might be able to go and pick things up or open doors or retrieve things. An epilepsy support dog might be able to tell someone when they're about to have an epileptic seizure through the training they've had. An autism assistance dog will do specific tasks to mitigate the disability. It might remove people from a stressful situation. It might give an early warning alert for a meltdown. It might help young teenagers to learn to cross the road safely. Deep pressure therapy is something that all of our autism assistance dogs are trained to do, to help with the proprioceptive and the vestibular system and calming of those systems. So they do specific tasks and they will help specific areas for each person that we identify. On top of that, of course, we all know that dogs are hugely therapeutic, otherwise nobody would have them, you know. They've got fur and they smell and they roll in things, and you've got to walk them in the rain and you pick up their poo. Who would have a dog? Well, dogs are wonderfully therapeutic, and that's a huge part of what our dogs do for us, and help people with their emotional regulation.
Like, I think one of the things that I love about dogs as an autistic person is that they don't actually talk back. So, like, if you're anxious, sometimes people talking back can make it worse, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, you actually founded this entire massive, what's become a bit of a beast now really, of a charity, motivated by your own child's experiences, right? Tell us about that a little bit. So
when he was really small, I guess kind of 4 or 5, you know, people started saying to me, have you thought of getting him a dog? And I had a background as a dog trainer. I was a dog trainer and animal behaviourist, although at that time I was a school teacher. And I thought that, you know, I looked into it and I got a pet dog, really, just to see if that would make any difference for him. And it really didn't at that time. So our first pet dog was a pet dog in the household. They tolerated one another and that was fine, but there was no real bond there. And when he was about 8 or 9, we looked after a Labrador for someone when they went on holiday, and this amazing thing happened where the dog and my son really bonded. And when Marcus started to become emotionally dysregulated, the dog would seek him out. And in fact, this was a dog that wasn't allowed upstairs in its own home, and it belly crawled up the stairs
to get to him
when it could hear that he was upset, lay next to him after a meltdown, and suddenly that after effect of the meltdown that can go on for such a long time just dissipated. And my husband and I we were awestruck, actually, and we realised then, if we get the right dog and we train it properly, this could be transformative for him. So that's where it all started, and that was the motivation for it. And
when was that? How many years have?
Golly, that must have been about 8 years ago now that took place. And then I looked into getting a dog from one of the charities. I realised all the charities were oversubscribed. They were inundated with applications. They'd closed their lists. Marcus was timing out on his age because he was 8 and 10 was the cut-off, and there was a 3-year waiting list and all of these things. I realised we weren't going to be able to get him an assistance dog through those amazing charities. Mm-hmm. And I owner trained our first dog, not even knowing that it was a thing. I was kind of desperate. We got going, and that's where it started, Ella. Really,
I think that's incredible, and I think that's really important to bear in mind with Dogs for Autism, is that really it's come from the motivation of one person, which kind of just goes to show that we can all have an impact on the world. Just bringing it back to my usual cheesy style of. So that's really positive. So things are good. We're all fine. Everything's fine. Okay, great. So how long does it take to train an assistance dog, and how does that work in Dogs for Autism?
From 0 to, if we take a puppy that, let's say, we bred ourselves, to final placement, at least 18 months to 2 years. To have a dog fully graduated and working within the family home. 18 months is the absolute minimum. 2 years is usually how long it takes. Sometimes it takes a bit longer. The dog and the autistic partner and the trainer, the whole thing is a very organic process. It takes as long as it takes, but that's our time frame.
And how does it happen? I mean, I know, for example, that unlike other assistance dog organisations, your dogs are trained in homes with trainers, right?
So we're quite a young charity, and if we're honest, we're still developing our model, Ella, but sometimes we do things slightly differently depending upon each person's situation. But our basic model is that we have a dog who lives with essentially a puppy walker. Mm-hmm. So we call them early days handlers. And these are people who've got the time to help to put some training in.
Side note, if that's you, do check out the Dogs for Autism website and sign up for some of that.
Yeah, definitely. We need a long list of people who'd like to do that, or volunteer in any other way. But so the dog lives with an early days handler who lives near the autistic partner. The trainer also lives near the autistic partner. So you have this little triangle, like a little hub of dog, early days handler, trainer. Okay?
That's so exciting, isn't it?
The trainer works every week with the dog on its own, with the dog and the early days handler, and with the dog and the family. So that the trainer sees the dog 3 times a week. And the early days handler job is to work every week with the dog trainer, and the dog trainer gives them homework. Yeah. So the early days handler, who's got plenty of time, goes off, takes the dog everywhere. It's got a little jacket. They go off and they do the homework. Yeah, this is what we need to train this dog to do. You do it over and over again. And then the work that's done with the family and the trainer is about the bonding process and about teaching over time. Because what we do know about autism is that autistic people need time to process what needs to happen, to process the whole situation. And also, if there are situations and issues, we need to identify those and work on those away from the family home.
So you're not adding extra stress or anxiety to that situation.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, certainly for me, working with Coco, your expectations of where you want to be. I think for autistic people, it's really hard to go, things aren't great right now, but they will improve.
Yeah.
So if you're like, something goes wrong, then you can be like, well, that's it then. The entire thing catastrophizing. The entire thing is ruined. I'm done. It's over. Right?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what we really, really want to avoid.
You don't want that.
No.
Okay, great. Do the dogs, my last question about your dogs in particular is, do they enjoy working in this way?
If they don't, then we retire them as pets, is the answer to that. You know, until you've actually started working with a dog and started to develop its whole palette of experience, we don't know how each and every dog will react. And obviously the welfare of the dog comes first for us. In fact, it comes before everything.
Absolutely.
And so we keep a really close eye on that. And obviously the way that we train our dogs is designed to help them be comfortable and really enjoy their work. You know, when we put that jacket on, the sun and the moon and the stars come out. Way, you know. But some dogs actually intrinsically don't really enjoy it. They don't want to meet the world head on, thank you very much. They'd rather just be a pet.
They're all very different, aren't they?
Yeah, just like us, you know.
Just like people.
They are.
But better.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But without really, well, some of them answer back, but yeah, the ones that answer back don't make it. But
yeah.
And then we make sure they're happy. So yes, they're happy in their work. The ones that
do it find kind of pleasure and stimulation in doing that work.
They love it. The
really
jacket
great.
comes out and they, you know, someone sent me a video actually earlier this week of their daughter's assistant's dog. She was getting her college stuff ready, and he went and lay his chin on his jacket, on his working jacket, just waiting for her to put it on. I mean,
yeah,
you know.
That's lovely. Okay, so so at the point you're at now, you are currently supplying assistance dogs for autistic people of all ages. You've kind of grown from a small charity to a bigger charity. What does the future look like? What's your dream?
Well, my dream, and I'm absolutely committed to this, not me, but like our whole organisation, is that Dogs for Autism becomes for the autistic community what Guide Dogs is for the visually impaired.
Yes.
You know, one of our responsibilities as the only charity in the UK exclusively providing autism assistance dogs, and also to people of all ages, is to educate the wider population who have no experience of autism about how debilitating autism can be for people when it comes to being able to access their community and go out and do the things that they really would love to be able to do independently without needing a family member or a carer. And our dogs, not for everybody, but for some people, our dogs can actually do that. It is as liberating as a guide dog. And this is what I'm really hoping that we can help people to understand, that you know, it's about independence and confidence and the ability to do the things that why shouldn't they be able to do?
Yeah, and I think there's something in there as well, because like I this is where we completely align on the passion for this should be what it is even just as an autistic person, it can be really common that when things aren't going well or when you've had a meltdown, you feel like, well, that's it, no one's ever going to like me, I'm never going to fit in, I'm just always going to be living this like kind of feeling wrong life. But when you've got a dog, when you've got an assistance dog that's helping you in that way, I've never kind of worried that I'm being judged by my dog. So you've also got always someone that you feel a sense of belonging with, and a sense of belonging is on the pyramid of needs, quite high up actually. So for autistic people to have that, I think it's like food, water, shelter, acceptance, belonging, right? Community.
Okay. Yeah.
So to have that community with your dog is also something that shouldn't be underestimated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And because it's an assistance dog that's working with you, you have that community with you wherever you go, which makes it so much easier to deal with the world that isn't, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily debilitated by my autism, but I'm certainly debilitated in society. So you've got someone who's got your back when you're out there dealing with ableism, basically, on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So what I'd really like to talk about now, to finish up, is how can we help you to do that? So is it fundraising? Is it volunteering? Is it raising the profile?
Well, it's a great question. And because of the model, because of the way it works at Dogs for Autism, there is no ceiling to the number of dogs that we can work with and the number of autistic people that we can help. the ceiling is about money and resources. It costs £20,000 to the charity, from the beginning to the end of a dog's working life, throughout the dog's working life. And it's probably a conservative estimate, that actually. And it's not just about the training cost of the dog, it's about the whole running of the charity. You know, so the cost per dog is around £20,000. I've been able to start the charity, but I can't do it on my own. I need a huge team of people to help me, to help everybody else. And that massively includes fundraising. It's really hard for me to ask for money.
So how about you talk about the heroes?
Okay.
I think the heroes thing is a really good thing. So what I understand it of it is that basically if you were as passionate as I am about this and you wanted to help, you could sign up to raise a certain amount. It's a set amount, isn't it? How much is it?
So our 100 Heroes campaign is a specific campaign all on its own that says we're looking for 100 people this year to raise £1,000 each for the charity.
Which, don't be scared, because my first reaction to that was, what the heck? £1,000 over the course of a year could be a bake sale here, a sponsored this, that, a Christmas donation, and ask for donations on your birthday there. And when you break it down, it's a lot more possible. And
Absolutely.
No one's going to be mad if you don't actually make exactly £1,000.
Well, exactly,
right?
yeah. And we have a campaign manager who's there to support everybody, and is like, hey, you know, how are you getting on? Do you want any ideas? Do you want any support from us? You know, so if you want to get into the 100 Heroes campaign group, you are so welcome. Even if you don't manage to make £1,000, whatever you manage to make is going to help us train assistance dogs.
And if you're in the 100 Heroes programme and you're a viewer of mine and you want to share sponsored this and that, I will share it on my platforms for you to make it easier. So that's like, I really want to do this. Next level, I think, is kind of sponsor a puppy, make a one-off donation, make a regular monthly donation, that kind of stuff. It's all on the website. And then kind of also that practical help. Can people actually donate kind of resources?
Oh yes, well, I mean, volunteering, you know, charities really don't run without a big volunteer group, and we have a member of staff who runs our volunteer group. And the kind of things that our volunteers can do for us, they can show up at events and help to, you know, hand out leaflets and you know, rattle buckets. They can do talks for us. So we often get asked, can we do a talk? And we have a PowerPoint that we can give to people, and we can sort of, you know, talk people through it, just to go and do talks about Dogs for Autism, which is really, really helpful.
So there's like, before we overwhelm you with too much information, there's like a bunch of different things that you could do, from the very small, I really want to help but I haven't got much capacity, to I would like to make the next year of my life focused on this, and everything in between. So if you are interested in supporting Dogs for Autism, which I really hope that some of you are, because this is really important, please go to the website, which I'll leave in the description box, and just have a look around. Or if you want some guidance with that, feel free to email me and I can help you with that too. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. I'm also going to be doing as much fundraising and profile. So if you get sick of me saying Dogs for Autism, you might as well unsubscribe now, really, because I'm just going to be a little bit obsessed in the way that an ADHDer generally is with a topic.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's everything for now. Maybe if you have like stuff that you'd really like to know about Dogs for Autism or Hilary's experience as a trainer, we could potentially film something again in the future. So do leave suggestions for that in the description box, in the comments below. Thank you for coming and making this with me.
Oh, thank you, Alex. It's been great.
And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Oh, I should say this: like, subscribe. I'm also promoting myself, but just in a brief way. Thanks for watching.
And thank you for all your support.
ADHD is trying to end the video without a plan.
Yeah, we can't end the video. Thanks for all your support. And we're all over social media, you know, come and find us.
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
LinkedIn.
I'll put all of the links for all of the things that you might want to know about Dogs for Autism in the description box. So go there and check that out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.